With you, Recap Roman. The story is called The Monster from 1994. Police officers investigate the brutal murders of 18 women. The maniac leaves no clues. He acts unpredictably, but works in the same neighborhood. Recently, another victim is found, and the investigation resumes with renewed vigor. Loris works as a decorator. At one of the parties he organized, his employer says that there is a certain nymphomaniac who is ready to sleep with anyone. He gives Loris a direction in which to move to find the girl. However, when Loris leaves, she is taken away by a couple of young guys and another woman takes her place. Loris returns and mistakes the woman for a nymphomaniac. He begins to harass her and is rebuffed appropriately. The frustrated stranger is about to leave for home, but she meets Loris again in the garage. He is stacking mannequins in a van. He has an electric chainsaw that accidentally starts up. Loris tries to explain himself, but the woman thinks that he wants to attack her and kill her. She runs away in terror. The police made a sketch of the perpetrator. They quickly found Loris and started to follow him. In the meantime, Loris is studying Chinese with the help of a professor he knows. Loris is going to get a job in a Chinese company and he needs to know the language. In the house where Loris lives, he is disliked. He does not pay the rent, steals gnomes from the lawn, and tries to defame the bright name of the administrator. He wants to take his place. The administrator does not want to tolerate Loris in his house. He wants to sell his apartment, and for this purpose they take potential future owners there. Loris gets away from every possible buyer by trickery. The neighborhood children try to annoy Loris at every opportunity. After the manager left, they put a dead cat in his apartment. Loris wraps the cat in a rag and goes to throw it away, so that the concierge does not notice him. He has to move sitting down, which puzzles the neighbor Loris, but he pretends that it is necessary. A cat catches up with Loris in the street. He goes around the corner with it, and then remembers that he was going to throw away the cat's body and returns to the trash can. Then he goes to a cafe to have a free snack. Here he runs into a man smoking, and a cigarette butt falls into his pants. On his way out, he sees a shapely girl and stops to admire her charms. The cigarette butt starts to burn his genitals and Loris has to put it out with water. When Loris is spotted by the owner of an antique store to whom he has not paid for an hour, inciting his death, he has to run away. Loris hides by clinging to the balcony at the very moment when a girl in a short skirt walks out on him. Then Loris goes to the supermarket and makes the store employees think the security system is malfunctioning, and then he goes through the checkout line with a pile of stolen groceries in his pockets. The police are investigating the actions of the maniac. The police followed Loris and saw him kill a cat because he went around the corner with a live cat and came back with a dead one. They also watched him struggling with his nature, looking at a shapely girl and peeping at an attractive person on the balcony. In the footage, Loris looks like a natural monster. The cops are going to catch the maniac, but all the girls invited as candidates for catching the maniac leave. Only Jessica Rossetti is left. She is given the task to follow Loris and provoke him to active actions. Then he will be caught red-handed. Jessica follows Loris and sees how he amuses himself with a mannequin of a woman. From such a perversion of the policeman's girlfriend, even tortured. In fact, he was stacking the mannequin's van, and one of them caught the edge of Loris' jacket, and he tried to free himself. Jessica realizes that this maniac is extremely dangerous and capable of any atrocities. Despite this, she goes to his apartment. She has to understand how and what this creepy pervert lives, and from what she saw, she was left in shock. Jessica tells the manager that she didn't want to buy the apartment. She thought it was for rent. Loris hears this, and he hatches a plan to pay the rent without spending a penny. He goes down the scaffolding and catches up with the girl. On the way, he falls down, after which he has a frightening appearance. With pickaxe in hand, he offers Jessica to come over and live with him on a sublet agreement. He says she will have to pay him 8 months' rent up front. For Jessica, it's a chance to arrest the maniac in an attempted abuse. She puts on a seductive dress, packs her things and drives in the middle of the night, as the risk told her to go to his house. She has a gun with her. She is ready to shoot Loris at any moment. He behaves like a madman. In order not to be seen by the concierge, he leads the girl into the apartment on scaffolding. On the way, Jessica is convinced that this monster should be put in jail immediately because he brazenly rubs on her body and then also dismembers a doll of a nasty neighbor girl who planted a cat in his apartment. A psychiatrist working for the police department is thrilled to learn that Jessica is now living with a maniac. He says that the girl only has to reveal her femininity and Loris will jump on her, and then the police will get him. Jessica wiggles her naked thighs in front of Loris all day and night, twirling her half-naked daddy, spreading her legs and almost riding him. But he never touches her. Once Jessica did climb on his neck, but even then Loris kept his composure. Jessica tells about her failure to the psychiatrist, who asks to arrange a meeting with Loris. Then he will be able to determine the degree of abnormality of Loris on the female body. Meanwhile, Loris has finished his studies and is ready for a job interview at a Chinese firm. For good luck, the professor gives him a musical Chinese souvenir. Jessica tells Loris that a tailor she knows wants to live a suit for him. In fact, the tailor is a psychiatrist. To treat the tailor and his wife to dinner, they go to the store to buy groceries. They pass by the concierge again sitting down, and again they meet the neighbor. Now he's perfectly normal about this behavior. After stealing a bunch of groceries at the supermarket, Loris starts cooking dinner. The psychiatrist's wife knows that they are going to visit a maniac. She is very worried, because this monster has already killed 18 girls, and every time they are alone together, it looks like Loris is trying to possess a woman. The psychiatrist sedates her so that she won't interfere with the examination of the maniac. Jessica sees Loris trying to get out of a tricky situation and only laughs. After living with him, she is no longer afraid of him. The girl does not believe that this man is capable of murder. The psychiatrist discreetly conducts a bunch of tests during which he determines the criminal tendencies of Loris. But when he put on a sterile glove and was about to get into the dark depths of Loris's subconscious, Jessica stopped the experience, and the psychiatrist did not calm down. He found a garden gnome in the closet of the suspect and wanted to put forward a new theory about the abnormality of Loris. But then he heard screams from the stairwell. The psychiatrist's wife tried to run away, but Loris noticed her, and another situation happened in which Loris looked like a horny maniac. The next day, Loris had a job interview. While talking to the Chinese, he did not understand a word and was not hired. The professor and Jessica came to support him. After the interview, Loris rolled the professor a Chinese amulet. The psychiatrist stayed up all night trying to understand why Loris didn't attack Jessica. In the morning, he brought the girl a red cap costume. Supposedly only in it she would be able to seduce Loris. The girl recorded messages for him on a tape recorder and decided to leave him. Seeing her in the costume, Loris did not jump on her. Jessica said goodbye to the uncomprehending Loris and left. It wasn't until he heard the tape on the recorder that he realized Jessica had fallen in love with him. Only she returned to the police and told about everything to the superiors, as they found a new corpse. The handwriting is the same, which means that it is Loris again when on the warpath. The cops don't want to play hide and seek with him anymore. They put Loris on the wanted list. His picture flashes on all channels. A crowd of people gathers at Loris's house. People want to tear him to pieces for the atrocities he has committed. Loris is the only one who doesn't realize how scary he is. He comes home quietly and sees the crowd. From the gawkers, he learns about the maniac who lives in his house. Loris suspects the manager, but then a woman identifies him and the police and civilians pounce on him. While Loris is running away from the angry citizens, Jessica goes to the scene of the crime and finds a Chinese toy she saw at the professor's house. She realizes that he is the killer. Meanwhile, Loris escapes from his pursuers in the professor's apartment. He is not at home, but when he returns and a woman's hand is sticking out of his pocket, Loris realizes that the professor is the maniac. At that moment, the police break into the apartment and arrest the professor. After this story, Loris and Jessica start dating. Loris tries to kiss the girl, but he is frightened by the noise of the construction workers. They squat down to hide from the strangers and kiss. This picture is seen by a neighbor who has already caught them in this position several times. He is pleased to see a strange couple in love. Jessica and Loris say goodbye to him and walk off into the sunset. And that's it for now. Subscribe and put a like if you want more new videos.